Hey, I'm on my way to my shop right there, thinking about what's some important things to talk about on YouTube. Starting my new YouTube channel. Always thinking about things, especially for the beginning woodworker, since I teach construction and things like that in high school. And I think I have some topics, and we're going to run a series about things that might be important to the new woodworker. And even those that have been woodworking for a while might have forgotten some of the basics. So here goes. Hi, my name is Tim, and I'm going to talk to you today about the 3 most important tools in a woodworking shop. You might be exploring woodworking, you might be new to woodworking or been doing it for 60 years. Sometimes we maybe forget about the basics. Now, everything on this, what I'm presenting to you are my opinions, and my opinions alone, and some people might share in this, but I'm going to share to you off the cuff what I think are the most important. Number 1 might sound corny. Is this thing right here, okay, sitting on your shoulders. It's more than, an oxygen breathing periscope. It has this thing in here called a brain, and we need it. We need that brain to be thinking clearly when we go into the woodworking shop for a number of reasons. Number 1 is safety. If my mind's not into it, or I'm impaired or something like that, and I come into my shop, I risk getting injured. There's a lot of power tools, or a lot of things around. I also risk damaging my equipment and ruining some expensive materials. All materials are expensive. They cost money. I like to do woodworking, and I cannot do woodworking unless oh my goodness, there goes my air compressor. I'll be right back, okay? I got to find that air leak in there, okay? So, where were we? Okay, we're talking about this thing on top of your head, so safety is number 1. The other is, if my head's not in the game, I'm not going to produce anything good. So if I come in the shop in the morning and I'm just not into it, and if I get out here and I'm just kind of wandering around, I can't even get into cleaning up, which I think I showed you in another video. I'm not real good at that. But I leave. I go out and get my head clear. I might not come in the next day, might come in an hour later, but I'm going to get my head clear. The other's at the end of the day. I might be tired. I've been in here all day, and especially if I'm getting close to finishing up a project, sometimes I want to get it done, and I'll start making mistakes. And I'm kind of hard-headed. It might take me 1 or 2 mistakes, and hopefully not too costly, before I got to turn the lights off and walk out of here until the next day. And so we need to have that clear. The other one, we probably heard it before, is that, hey, we need to learn how to learn. And part of learning how to learn is exercising our brain. Exercising our brain helps grow it. Helps get it strong so we can learn things. I'm a teacher. I'm in my 7th year of teaching. I'm what's called a career switcher. And I had to go through about 5 college courses on top of my degree to become a teacher. And in one of the courses, I had to sit through this speech from this professor out of college out west, and I won't name the college. And it was a 20-minute speech about synapses of the brain. Now, I thought I could watch it for 5 minutes and get 500 words out of it for the paper I had to do. I watched it for 20 minutes 3 times. My head was kind of doing this all over my neck, going through it, because that's just not me. But I did learn, I think I learned about synapses of the brain, and they're especially important when you're young, creating all these little intersections in your brain so that you can remember things. So part of it is learning. The process of learning and exercising creates those things. I'm an old guy. I don't know how many of those synapses I got left, but if I can keep growing some, I'm going to keep growing some. So I like to learn. I like to learn new things. I go to the University of YouTube almost every single day. And so that's very important in woodworking. This thing right here, it's number 1. Without it, hey, we're probably underneath the surface we call the earth right here. So we need to have it as good as we can, keep it on our shoulders. And again, it's more than just, hey, that periscope of looking around, okay? Number 2, this thing right here. It doesn't matter if it is a tape measure. It doesn't matter if it's a combination square. You need to know how to use it. And we'll go into a lot more detail on it in another video, especially for my young and new listeners out there. But if you're working by yourself, you can probably get away with saying, hey, it's 7 and 3 little tick marks past the 7 mark. Now, that's good if you're using the same measurement device. But on my tick marks right here, they're what's called 1/16 of an inch apart. So if I go over to another measuring device and they don't have the 1/16, the smallest is 1/8 of an inch, okay, I'm going to be a little long on that. And I can recover from being a little long on something on a cut because it's not fitting, it's too big. Cut a little bit more off. But if I go the opposite direction on that, and I'm using something that's has 1/8 of an inch as smallest, or I have something that is, a 32nd of an inch, or whatever, and I go back and I measure the other way, then I'm going to be too short. So you need to know how to measure these. You also need to make sure if you're using more than one measuring device that they line up. An inch is an inch, and it's the same on the other devices. So very important right here. Right here. If you can't measure it, it's going to be hard to build it. It's going to be hard to make it. It's going to be frustrating. Learn how to use this. Okay? The other, very simple. These things, what are they? They're marking devices. Right here. There are some methods of being able to do some cuts and stuff like that with kind of not marking. You can eyeball it. You can scribe, not using a ruler. But if I use a big old Sharpie on my piece of wood that I'm trying to do fine woodworking, it's not going to go right. I'm either going to cut it too big, too small, or whatever, but that's not a good line. And in woodworking, we need to have a nice precise line. So generally I'm going to take and carve that down to where it's really fine, kind of blade light, and make sure I'm marking that way when I'm using this. And I'll use a pencil like this. This one here likes to break on me. I do a fine line. If I press too hard on some wood, it's going to break on me. I have some other pencils around here. And I also use some scribes. Learn how to mark them. Learn how to stand over top of that mark, not the side, and make a very precise mark when you're marking. If you don't, you can get away with cutting it too long, but if you cut it too short, it's kind of hard to put it back. Sawdust is, I don't know how you're going to add on to the end of that unless you cut another piece and glue it and call it something else. So those are the 3 most important devices, the 3 most important pieces of equipment in your shop. Make sure you're using them appropriately. It doesn't matter what other equipment you have after that. It doesn't matter how precise you know how to cut. If you can't have those 3 things working appropriately in your shop, you're not going to have fun. Get them down, hey, and the rest of it is a good journey. But this is where you start your journey, right here, here, and here. So hopefully you like my channel. Please like it. Please subscribe to it. I really appreciate it. My name is Tim. I am the Average Woodworker. And thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next video. Have a great day.